and was designed to support a much lower population than it is serving now. As a result, the demand for water from the system far outstrips what it can supply, resulting in frequent breakages, water rationing, and sometimes outright breakages of the system. Also, this situation is also caused by obsolete machines and water theft. Therefore, the water situation in Tamale is there, driving the cost of water higher as sold by private vendors to the people of Tamale. Nevertheless, the Ghana Water Company is undertaking regular maintenance works, which include replacement of parts, which has considerably improved upon the situation in the metropolis. The Ghana Water Company is now able to pump 40,000 cubic meters of water daily from the previous 28,000 cubic meters it used to pump. We want to express our gratitude to government for this huge intervention, which has given us welcoming relief. But as people of Tamale, we are eagerly awaiting the gargantuan water project that would draw water from Yape to the metropolis. We urge the GFA consultants to speed up their work to ensure that we see practical solutions and permanent solutions to our water issues. It is our hope that we would be able to deliver adequate clean water to our people, which will no doubt ease the water pressure on women and children who mostly search for water for their households. On health, His Excellency, the President of our Republic of Ghana, Northern Region is said to be a major contributor to the national burden of preventable deaths, especially maternal complications, neonatal conditions, and infectious diseases. Coincidentally, and fortunately for us, on the 15th of April this year, the President launched the Free Healthcare Initiative, which we want to take advantage of to improve upon the well-being of our people. And as the adage goes, heaven helps those who help themselves. We have also embarked on a massive construction of cheap compounds throughout the region. We have so far in the past 1 year constructed, furnished, and equipped about 34 cheap compounds, which also provide maternity services. Your Excellency, on education, as we all know, education is said to be the foundation upon which the superstructure of development is built. Regrettably, the academic performance of our candidates at the BEC and WASI levels leaves much to be desired. Inadequate infrastructure and supervision, congestion, low parental support, teacher-student indiscipline, and accountable to our average performance. Similarly, in the educational sector, we are undertaking unprecedented provision of furniture and school buildings, mostly with the support of GET Fund. Consequently, we have awarded up to about 121 number construction for the region. We have also constructed dormitories, assembly halls, laboratories, and supplied furniture to most of our schools. In addition to this, our schools, together with the MMDAs, are providing extra classes for pupils and students and mock examinations in order to adequately prepare them for the examinations. On the road network, the Northern Region has an estimated total road network of about 7,000 kilometers, and it is only about 19% of this road network that can be classified as in good condition. The importance of our road network lies in the support it gives to agriculture, trade with Burkina Faso, Togo, and other parts of the region. Thus, the need for our road to be given priority attention cannot be overemphasized. In the past 1 year, we have awarded a lot of contracts in the areas of feeder, urban, highway roads. Currently, over 900 kilometers are mostly ongoing. Furthermore, feeder roads are receiving attention thanks largely to the District Road Improvement Program, as our MMDAs are using the equipment to open up new routes, expand existing ones, and to carry out rehabilitation on the bad ones. On youth unemployment, His Excellency, the President of our Republic, Don Dramani Mahama, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there is a perception out there that the northern region epitomes youth indiscipline and lawlessness. A lot of the indiscipline and lawlessness is down to the fact that there is widespread joblessness among our youth, and as the saying goes, the devil finds work for the idle hands. And substance abuse. Without doubt, the National Apprenticeship Program, which was notably launched in the region, has come to help us to ameliorate the situation. Under the National Apprenticeship Program, the region has trained and equipped a total of 3,301 apprentices in various trade areas. And under the Ajumawura program, we have trained 1,005 beneficiaries. Out of this number, 230 were selected for their business pitching, and a further 160 have also been selected for the Ajumawura grant disbursement. It is our hope that these initiatives, together with the Feed Ghana and Nkokon Kitenkiti initiative, when fully implemented, will go a long way to find work for the idle hands. On peace and security, again, the northern region has gained notoriety as a region of conflicts, and this tag has been given traction by the imposition of curfews on some communities in the Gushegu and Karga district, following the disturbances in these areas. The so-called conflicts in the region are caused mainly by chieftaincy and land disputes. I want to assure His Excellency that Northern region is calm and peaceful. In this regard, we want to extend our profound gratitude to the overlord of the Dagbang traditional area for his unflinching support to the Regional Security Council for our peace and security initiatives. We want to appeal to Ndanyana to consider taking steps to resolving the long-standing and seemingly intractable chieftaincy dispute in the Nanung traditional area. In the promotion of peace and security in the region, we are leaned heavily on the support of the likes of the Regional Peace Council, the Dagbang Youth Association, the Konkomba Youth Association, the Star Ghana, the Cognita organizations. We want to express our gratitude to all these organizations. Finally, in the governance and development of our northern region, we wish to express our gratitude to His Excellency the President and the government of Ghana, our development partners, the NGOs, notably UNICEF, WFP, Action Aid, GIZ, SEGRE, among others, for their great support. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once more, we shall continue to remember His Excellency for the good work that he has done within this short time. Our common fund has been increased not only in the region, nationwide, and this has cushioned the various district assembly to be able to do many of the things that they used not to do in the past. Your Excellency, we are very grateful to you for this initiative. This was a promise that was made. You indicated how much you were going to send this to the district assembly, and the money is actually coming, and the DCEs are putting this money into good use. On this note, we bless you and say, may God continue to be with you, and we thank you so much. God be with us all. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Yes,
shall we put our hands together once again for Honorable Ali Adolf for his brief but loaded presentation. He has set the tone for how this program will be run. Now, education remains a cornerstone of President Mahama's research agenda. And who best to highlight the gains made in this sector than a son of the soil and Minister for Education, as well as Member of Parliament for Tamale South. Let us welcome the Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief, National Chairman of the great NDC Party, colleague Ministers of State, Nanuma, Nso Gafara Inwane, Enye Naba Prenantona, Sanana, Kasulana, Zolana, Zanganlana, Nebamfumlana, the Afa Pambuma Regional Chief Imam Bene, Afa Tankon Bene, MP Bene, NDC Vice Chairman Bene. My task is a very simple one. By education, you cannot discuss it in the context of a region or northern region. So I'll be accounting briefly for what President John Dramani Mahama has done and intends to do in his research in education. The first President Mahama did upon assumption of office in February was to convene the National Education Forum to have an understanding of what the problems were affecting the provision of quality, inclusive quality education from basic level to the tertiary level. One of the most fundamental decisions President Mahama took as President of the Republic was to recognize that even though free senior high school was introduced by the previous government, there was no adequate financing for the free senior high school initiative. The government may want to take credit for initiating it. President Mahama will take a better credit for assuring it of adequate and sustainable financing. I see the Chief Executive of Bafa Stock and a representative of the Ghana Commodity Exchange, and some of you students, whether from Ghana School or Tamal School, you are not in want of food. Adequate food have been provided to every secondary school across the country to give you stability of mind in order to be able to study. President Mahama is further supporting the expansion of access to secondary education, with the Minister for Finance securing for the government of Ghana $300 million to convert 10 Category C schools to B and 30 B to A, and to expand infrastructure in the A's. Currently, every major secondary school in this region have gotten a Get Fund project initiated, and work is far advanced. This same university where we are, President Mahama promised to revise the UDS Act. That was done, and the UDS now has a dedicated legal framework that assures the university how to run. What President Mahama have assured tertiary institutions is to uphold and respect academic freedom to its letter and spirit. I'm aware that President Mahama have taken initiative to establish a university to serve the Savannah region, to be known as the University of Science and Technology in Damango. But even at that, President Mahama has initiated the construction of 3 technical universities, one Jessican in the Oti region, one Kintampo in the Bono region, and one in Dambai in the Oti region. Work will soon commence on those institutions. President Mahama at the junior high school level in the 2025 budget promised to build 400 new junior high schools. I know in this hall there are a number of teachers here, and very respected teachers at that. And I know you've been asking for an opportunity for increased recruitment. That will be done in the 2027 budget for you. But currently, government is recruiting 7,000 teachers and some 1,500 lecturers across the country under President Mahama's watch. That has been distributed across the country, and each of you, including the UDS, in the last 2-3 years, you have not had the opportunity to enhance your faculty. President Mahama honored it. Last week, GTEC gave you a letter to recruit at least some 40 to 50 lecturers to beef up your faculty. It is safe for the UST and others. Mr. President, let me conclude at the higher education level by assuring Otumfuo Asantehene that your work that you get the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Teaching Hospital lunch will be done before the end of this year. Accordingly, 400 million Ghana cedis dedicated in the GET fund has been provided for the completion of the teaching hospital to support the University of Science and Technology. Mr. Speaker, I cannot be concluded without saying one of your flagship programs. In time past, many of you said, President Mahama, show us your social intervention policy. No fee stress. John Mahama. Free tertiary education for persons with disability. John Mahama. And from the 1st of July, President Mahama will add to it with free education for all persons with special needs and disability with supportive assistive devices. Accordingly, the GET fund has allocated 100 million Ghana cedis for the takeoff of that. Now, in concluding again with the teachers, under President Mahama, for the first time in the history of teaching, he has decoupled posts from rank, and the prolonged waiting of directors from Director 1 to Director 2. President Mahama says he has cured it. A new scheme of service have been established for all teachers across the country, and you will be promoted when you are due without having to wait for 10, 25 years. That scheme of service was presented to President Mahama by the Public Services Commission. And President Mahama will cut short in the course of the foreseeable future whilst feasibility study is undertaken for a new university in Kintampo. He has accordingly established the Mwakunuama Committee to do an assessment of what we need. Review curriculum from kindergarten to basic level, and that 20 million Ghana cedis have been allocated by GET Fund to support NACA, the curriculum assessment institution, to get that done. So this will be my accounting for President Mahama's education initiative under the reset. It can only be better. I thank you for the listening audience.
Thank you very much, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Minister for Education, for that comprehensive report on the sector. The Honorable Regional Minister alluded to increasing disbursements to metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies across the country, which have led to significant improvements in infrastructure. Now, to tell us more about this and other developments in the local government sector, let us welcome the Honorable Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs, the Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim. Let us give him a round of applause as he mounts the stage.
Thank you, our distinguished Government Spokesperson and Minister for Government Communications. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, former Assemblyman for the Bole District Assembly, and Africa's Continental Vice President, who is soon to be elected Africa's Continental President, unopposed in 2027. Our revered, respected traditional authorities, the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Chairman General Johnson Asiedu Nketia, colleagues, ministers of state, colleagues, members of parliament, senior government officials, our distinguished and dedicated metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives, our assemblymen present, assemblywomen present, my brothers and sisters for the media fraternity, good afternoon. Let me go briefly on the sector of local governance, and let me zero on Northern Region alone, because tomorrow the Government Communication Minister is going to grant me opportunity to go on the accountability series. But since we are in Northern Region, let me speak to Northern Region. Mr. President, as you have done, as a former assemblyman from the Bole District Assembly electoral area, you understand the assembly's concept very well. And therefore, when you ascended to the high office of presidency, what you have done on the national front, I will say 1, 2, 3, then I will zero on the Northern Region. Before then, our local governance structure was collapsed. Our donor partners were packing to go. The government of the previous administration couldn't even access their MMDAs. And therefore, the Part 8 was cancelled. SECO were not, Switzerland, German, all our development partners were not happy. And therefore, when Mr. President came to power, what he said was, let's reset the local governance structure. He gave hope to everybody, every player there. He started by making sure that he brought religious affairs, chieftaincy, and local governance together to form a tripod, giving opportunity to our traditional leaders to have a voice in the local governance, giving opportunity to the chiefs to have a voice, opportunity to assembly members to have a voice, and giving our destiny into our own hands. Therefore, he increased the district assembly common fund from 47% to 80%. And when he said he was going to give 80%, people were saying he couldn't do. By the end of December 2025, he increased it from 47 to 88.3. And therefore, 88.3% of this assembly common fund was disbursed to all the 261 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. My brothers and sisters, the amount of money that Mr. President sent to the MMDAs in 1 year alone was more than the amount of money that the previous administration sent to the MMDAs in 8 years. My brothers and sisters, beyond that, Mr. President gave a tight guideline saying that in the utilization of that money, 20%, 25% was to be used for construction of a 24-hour economy market. And therefore, in that market, every district was to benefit. So when you come to Northern Region, all the 16 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies are benefiting from the 24-hour economy market. And yesterday, Mr. President was in Bimila, he was in Kuko, and he was in Bimila, and he was even about to go to Sanarego to cut short for the construction of those markets. Therefore, Nanuma South, Nanuma North, Kwandai, Tamale Central, Tamale North, everybody is benefiting. Put that one chip compound. If you have 16 and you are constructing 2 chip compounds, meaning 32 chip compounds in what? 1 year. And every district is to construct at least three basic educational infrastructure. And if you are 16 and everybody should construct 3, 16 times 3, and that is what? 48. He said every district should drill at least 10 boreholes. If you have 16 MMDAs and you are drilling 10 boreholes, 16 times 10, 160 boreholes within 1 year. And he said at least 10% of the money is to be used on sanitation, 20% on legacy projects. What are the legacy projects? They are the abandoned projects that the present previous administration could not do. I wouldn't want to go too much because I have only 5 minutes. Beyond that, assembly members were not regarded and recognized or respected in our local governance. As a former assembly member, Mr. President said every assembly member must be recognized and motivated. Therefore, he allocated an amount of 100 million in the 2025 budget. By December 2025, he increased it to 107. An amount of 107 million Ghana cedis was disbursed to all the 9,090 assembly members in the country. Every assembly member was paid every month an amount of 1,300 Ghana cedis. This has never happened before. This year, we've allocated 100 million. And as I speak to you, the first quarter has ended, and we are computing that one to pay the first quarter allowance for all the assembly members in the country. Beyond that, I told you Department 8, the MPP couldn't access to mark all the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Department 8 was cancelled. The donors wanted to go with their money. Mr. President came. We assessed then in Department 9. And the Department 9, out of the 261 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, about 180 of them passed. If you come to Northern Region, out of the 16 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, 8 of them passed. And I will go ahead to mention that the 8 that passed, and those that failed. But it wasn't these current MMDCs who failed. The assessment was to assess the 2024 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. And when we assessed Northern Region, you had 8 pass, and you had 8 that failed. And the 8 district assemblies that failed, they are only going to be given 1.2 million Ghana cedis for capacity building. But the 8 that passed, they are going to be given no less than 9 million Ghana cedis for development activities in their metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Mr. President, an amount of 1.2 billion Ghana cedis is being disbursed to 118 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. But it will interest you to know that in my own region, out of 12, only 5 passed. In Northern Region, out of 16, 8 passed. This will tell you how transparent we are. We are using a digital means of assessing all the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. And the assessment is not only a difficult question. Did you assign how many assembly meetings did you organize in the year? How many ordinary meetings did you organize? Did you give prior notice to the assembly members 2 weeks before the meeting? Did you take minutes? If yes, download all the minutes and everything that took place. All these were just the questions. 143 assembly members, 143 assemblies failed. Beyond this, Mr. President, you went ahead to approve the enactment of a law in Parliament to upgrade the Tamale campus of the Local Government Institute into a university. And that act, the executive approval has been given. When Parliament goes to this next meeting that we are going, Parliament is going to enact that law. And once that law has been passed by Parliament, the University for Governance and Development Studies is going to be enacted. And that is going to give us a campus in Tamale, a campus in Akumadan, and a campus in Accra. Mr. President, not only that, last week you gave us an amount of 40 million Ghana cedis for Soko project. And you have earmarked $7 million for Soko in 2026. And Soko is only operating in Northern Region, Upper West, Upper East, Oti, Savannah, and Northeast. There are only 6 regions. And that 6 regions, we have 48 districts in the 6 regions. And Mr. President gave us 40 million last week for Soko. He's adding 7 million this year for it. Beyond that, Mr. President, you have also approved Sustainable Cities Project, and Tamale is also benefiting from that. Mr. President, the mayor of Tamale was in Accra this week on Strong Cities Project. From there, he just came. So Tamale is benefiting a lot from the local governance structure. And Mr. President, this year, apart from the 88.3% that you gave last year, you are giving 90% of the District Assembly Common Fund to all the districts in the country. And all the 16 are going to benefit. Last year, it was only 7.5 billion that you gave 88.3. This year, you've increased it to 8.9 billion. And you are giving 90% of that to the MMDCs. So MMDCs, be ready for work. Mr. President, beyond that, beyond the 90.3, you have increased the persons with disability fund from 3% to 5%. And from 3% to 5%, it means this year, you are going to disburse an amount of 438 million Ghana cedis to persons with disabilities in Ghana. This has never happened before. Mr. President, not only that, apart from all those disbursements that you have done, you have approved, the Cabinet Committee has approved, subject to be approved on Tuesday, the National Decentralization Strategy and Policy from 2026 to 2030. And Mr. President, in that, you said in the manifesto you promised 7.5% of this Assembly Common Fund. You said you will see how you can pay the 5%. Last year you were able to pay it. This year you are able to pay it. And therefore, progressively, you are intending to increase it to 7.5% in 2027. And Mr. President, you promised and you said, and you are doing it, that out of the 7.5% that you are increasing, 1% is going to education and 1% is going to health. And Mr. President, you said the 1% that is going to education and the 1% that is going to health. When we approve the National Decentralization Policy 2026 to 2030 on Tuesday, you are going to proceed to decentralize education and decentralize health. What kind of president is this? Assembly members, you have a president indeed. If you have an assembly member who has metamorphosed into continental first vice president, the whole Africa, these are things he can do. Mr. President, may I reserve the rest for tomorrow. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Local Government. Indeed, if you were enthralled by his presentation, just tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. and you will hear him on the Government Accountability Series as he delves deeper into the local government sector. Thank you very much for that presentation. So you may have heard about the Big Push agenda. What does it entail? What has happened in the northern region and what is happening elsewhere? Let us welcome the Minister of Roads, the Honorable Kwame Gobbins Abuja, who breaks down for us the Big Push. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Felix. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, our revered and respected National Chairman of our party, colleague Ministers of State, our revered chiefs, our religious leaders, all regional and this constituency executives here, are very respected and hardworking as MMDCs student, Vice Chancellor of this very beautiful university, we are very grateful to be here. On this occasion of Resetting Ghana tour by the President, I want to tell you that President Mahama is going to reset the road sector like never before. President Mahama will go down in history, indeed in our lifetime, as the President who has invested heaviest and transformed the road sector of our country. As he took office as President, majority of roads in our country road projects were stalled. Indeed, almost 100 projects in this region, which were started previously, the contractors were not there. So as a matter of fact, over 90% of road contractors, stopped work before 2024 election. They were just not there, simply because government owed them a huge amount of money in almost 40 billion Ghana cedis worth of work done, and the contractors were not paid. They were owing the banks and everything, and they stopped work. In 2017, the reaction of the previous government was to take a policy position and say that all contractors should stop work while they do an investigation. The biggest victim of that policy was the Cocoa Road. Indeed, I attribute the collapse of the Cocoa Road to that uninformed decision by the previous government to suspend for investigation. Indeed, when they finished the investigation, proved that nothing wrong went until after 2016 election. President Mahama is a different president. He's a reset president. Instead of saying that we should suspend all the projects, and let me say, almost all those projects were awarded through sole sourcing. We have only about 3 records in the Ministry of Open Competitive Bidding. Many of the projects didn't even have commencement authorization, in the sense that the Ministry of Finance wasn't even aware that we were going to be paying for these things. Then President Mahama is different. He said, do not suspend or cancel any project. Encourage the contractors to go on to continue working. And indeed, I want to congratulate all the patriotic contractors who went back to site because they believe in President Mahama to do that. And indeed, President Mahama backed his policy by, as of Friday yesterday, paying almost 12 billion Ghana cedis in arrears to the contractors that were owed before we took office. So this is not the president that can be said to have abandoned any road project or have decided not to continue anything. He actually is continuing the old project and also paying for the contractors for that. My brothers and sisters, we also have a situation where majority of our trunk roads in our country were in a very deplorable state. In fact, if you were to be coming from Accra to Tamale, you will know how difficult it is. Whether you take the Central Corridor through Kumasi or you take the Eastern Corridor through OT region, it is very difficult. The President Mahama is doing something. This week, if you were to try to use the Eastern Corridor through Pasa, you will realize that this week we are starting asphalting on that road this week. So asphalting work will start on the road from Otidamanko all the way through Pasa this week to make sure that, and his vision, by the end of 2027, if you were to travel from Tema all the way to Bintri, you will have to drive on asphalt non-stop until you get to Bintri. This is the reset we are talking about. Your Excellency has also not left it with Big Push alone. And I took time to explain that Big Push is not a constituency-specific intervention. Big Push is his idea to the first phase 1 is to address all the trunk road challenges. So interconnect regions and interconnect them back into the regional capital. So you see that the Western Corridor from Wenchi all the way to Wa is under construction as we speak. The Eastern Corridor, as I said, the sections that are not complete are being completed. And in many parts of the country that is going on. Indeed, the Dambai Bridge is already under contract, and hopefully by the end of 2028, work should have significantly advanced, if not completed, on that one. And this will be the longest bridge so far started, which is about 1.5 kilometers. It has never happened before. If you look at Adomi Bridge and you think it's long, imagine 1.5 kilometers of that happening. And also the Volivo Bridge, which he started and was never continued, is back on track, as the finance minister announced in Washington that the contractors are coming back. But the wonder actually is the Chi Amanfo Bridge, which will be 3 kilometers of bridge. Not many bridges like this are happening in even Africa. What I'm trying to say is that through the vision of President Mahama, he has embarked on the largest ever, possibly the largest ever road infrastructure investment on the continent of Africa. There's no country in Africa that has a single project as extensive as this. And guess what? He is doing all this without any money from abroad, through the sweat of the Ghanaian. And we have selected some of the best contractors to do this. And I must be proud that some of the contractors who are working on this are your sons from this region and beyond. And we are very proud of them. And as of Friday, no contractor working on Big Push has raised work certificate that is his owed 1 cedi. Everybody who has raised certificate on Big Push for work has been paid as of Friday last week. As a result, today, once again, banks are chasing road contractors to give them support. And I want to single out Commercial Bank particularly for wonderful work that Farhan and his team are doing. Not only that, in this region, we have 5 lots of Big Push project going on in the northern region. And on the orders of the president, a few more are being prepared, which will start soon in this region. On the issue of the road between Savelugu and Walewale, as you know the issue, this project was started as approved by Parliament. Sadly, before the previous government left power, we paid the contractor 29 million Ghana cedi. In fact, Savelugu to Walewale, you know the road. You notice that the contractor didn't do 1 kilometer of road. The sad thing is that the way the contract was written by the previous government is as if they basically just signed a check of $29 million, gave it to the contractor, take the money, and walk away back to his country. But the Attorney General, on the orders of the President, is working to make sure that we can retrieve our money, because $20 million can do a lot for even water in this region. But that is money that is freely given to somebody, and President Mahama is directed that we retrieve our money. He's also embarked on something called the Economic Feeder Road with the World Bank. And from next month, the procurement process will start, where some feeder roads will be selected specifically because, with the help of the colleague, the Minister of Food and Agriculture, to select roads to areas where we have the biggest competitive advantage of food crop. So yam producing areas, rice producing areas, to help us build feeder roads to connect back to the trunk road in our country. So when I say that President Mahama's research on road will probably not be any.
I know what I'm talking about. There is no intervention bigger than what he is doing. And we want to thank the President for all this. President Mahama has also directed that all contractors working on this, and I want to assure you, no contractor working on Big Push would walk away
with 1 cedi without accounting for how that has spent on the side. I'm not in the business of throwing public money away. Every contractor would only be paid when he works. The works are measured, certified. So your money is safe with Big Push. And I want to end here by saying that for us, roads are not virtual. When we build roads, people will see it. Show you your eyes open. End of 2027, see one of the largest ever transformation of a road near you, and that will be because President Mahama's vision of reset is there. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Road Minister, for the exposition on the Big Push. So we've had a number of men speak. We want to break that monotony by delving into matters regarding gender, women, and children. So let us welcome the Honorable Minister for Gender, Women and Children, the Honorable Na Momo Lati. Let us put our hands together for her.
It is a great time to be a Ghanaian, and for us at the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, we can't say less, because when the economic hardship, when you meet an economy like the one we met in 2025, the tendency and the temptation to link towards infrastructural development is high. And so, times like that, people are looking at the hardcore development, the tangible ones that when somebody lands in the country can see and say that indeed the country is beautiful and that is significant development. When we met the economy with Day, His Excellency relied on support, social protection, and making sure that the vulnerable ones are cushioned to ensure that no one is left behind. One of the greatest social protection interventions we have is the empowerment against poverty, which is the LEAP program. When we took over, there were arrears to be paid. And so with all the economic challenges we were facing, His Excellency gave 953 million, which is an increase from 720 million. And today, we can say that direct from the 94th and 95th cycles have been paid. It is also a delight to say that since the inception of this program, there hasn't been any assessment. And assessing the LEAP program is a huge one. The financial commitment is needed to be able to assess it. As we speak today, the Ministry of Gender, under the LEAP program, has commenced the assessment, and in the coming week, you will see new beneficiaries being onboarded. Let me take my time to say that this assessment is graduating the old ones who have their livelihoods or living conditions improved. And I will plead with all of us, when we see those graduating, we shouldn't panic. About 70% of people will be graduating from the LEAP program. The graduation is not leaving you worse off. You'll be able to access other significant social interventions. And so we'll be coming around to take your biodata, biometrics, and then onboard the new ones we have assessed. And this is going to make sure that those who did not have the opportunity, even though they fall within the bracket of assessing the LEAP program, will also get the opportunity to be enrolled. And we'll be doing more education and sensitization. By the end of 2026, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has charged the ministry to move beneficiaries from 350,000 to 400,000 beneficiary households. Once again, let me plead the indulgence and support of all opinion leaders to ensure that this is properly done without panic, because there is a strategy that the graduating ones will be able to assess the other social interventions. One of such is the Nkupon Ketinkiti Ejumera, the Women's Development Bank, which will be operational very soon. And then Maslock will also support the rest of those graduating. And then there will also be a strategy to have a handshake so that when you go off, you'll be able to commence something on your own whilst we progress you to the other social interventions. One other significant social protection intervention is the school feeding program. When we came, there were arrears, and this one, you need no telling. We all saw the uproar in the country where caterers were demonstrating everywhere for payment. It is good news and refreshing for the people of the northern region to know that every single caterer that had not been paid have been paid up to date. The only arrears we'll have, which is not an arrears, the school feeding has been paid on time, and all the new caterers can tell you, and every single caterer everywhere can attest to the fact that they receive their payment on time. The other one we are waiting for is those who the term that just ended. And for that one, the data will be processed. We are working as charged by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to improve the system so that data collection and processing can be faster and people will be able to receive, that is the caterers, receive their payment right at the end of the term. Let me also take the opportunity on behalf of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the ministry to appreciate every caterer for their patience, and then also appreciate the coordinators and managers of the program, that because of their diligence, we are able to deliver on the promise of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I will say that it is not just an improvement, but also we have been able to look at the quality of food being served and make sure that the nutritional value is not lost out in the course of enrolling this out. One significant thing that has been a bother to most Ghanaians, and the ministry has lived up to expectation, is responding promptly to the issues of domestic violence. With the support of community members, opinion leaders, and religious and traditional leaders, we are able to work with all stakeholders to be able to seek justice for victims of abuse. And we'll continue to ask for your support, and because this falls rightly in line with the President's desire that we will reduce vulnerability, and abuse is vulnerability. We do not want to leave anyone behind. I will also continue to ask that when you see something, when you see abuse, the days when you think that it is an individual or a family's issue have passed. Today, when you see abuse and you report, we work with the relevant institutions to ensure that there is justice for every victim. On this note, I will also continue to thank everyone cooperating with us and say that when you see any form of abuse, kindly call these toll-free numbers and you will get the relevant support you need. And also approach the nearest police station. The toll-free numbers are 0800 800 800 and then 0800 900 900, 0800 900 900, and then 0800 111 222. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. So in the last few weeks, the Ghanaian media landscape has been awash with news about the implementation of the free primary health care program. So the health minister, the Honorable Kwabena Minta Akando, is on hand to tell us about this free primary health care initiative and other things that are being done in the health sector to guarantee the health of the people of Ghana. Let us welcome him with a round of applause.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, the National Chairman of the great NDC, my colleagues, ministers, honorable members of Parliament here in present, revered traditional leaders, ladies and gentlemen. I would want to use this opportunity to report on free primary health care. Your Excellency, over the years, a lot of progress have been made in the health sector. From the introduction of CHIPS compound to the introduction of the National Health Insurance Scheme. But truth be told, there are a lot ahead of us. Your Excellency, countries on the globe are putting measures in place to attain what we call universal health coverage. And Ghana is no exception. Studies have shown that countries that have attained a universal health coverage, like Thailand, Rwanda, Brazil, took a decisive decision in investing heavily in primary health care. And therefore, His Excellency the President, immediately after swearing in, took a decisive decision to uncap the National Health Insurance Fund. Previously, what was being done was that the revenue that goes to the National Health Insurance was being capped. So, for example, in 2024, whilst about 10 billion Ghana cedis was realized, only 6 billion Ghana cedis was allocated to the National Health Insurance Authority, which means that about 4 billion was put into the consolidated fund for other things. And one of the things or issues His Excellency started championing was health sovereignty on the globe. His Excellency the President believed that every country must be able to invest in its health infrastructure and the health system in general. And therefore, the National Health Insurance will have all the money, and that money must be invested in the health sector. Your Excellency, the health sector, as we have in this country, have been overly reliant on what we call treatment or sick care. And therefore, the introduction of the free primary health care is a resetting of the health sector to attain that comprehensive health care and not sick care. And so, we are moving from sick care to health care. Your Excellency, the free primary health care will be seeking to remove the financial barrier so that we can arrive at the universal health coverage. So that irrespective of your status in community, irrespective of your location, irrespective of your ability to pay, one will have access to affordable, quality health care. Your Excellency, the free primary health care will be applicable, one, at the CHIPS compound, at the health center, and at the polyclinic level. Since our health system has been overly reliant on treatment, it is time to concentrate on the preventive aspect, the promotion aspect. A survey was conducted around 2021, and it revealed that only 35% of people with hypertension know their status. And you all agree with me that these diseases progress quietly, silently, and before you realize, you are bedridden. And therefore, this preventive health care would then take the health professionals from the CHIP compounds, from the polyclinics, from the health centers, to the homes, to the schools, to the mosques, to the churches, to the markets, to screen Ghanaians. And that is why His Excellency the President has said that every Ghanaian must at least be screened once a day, once a year, to know your status. Your Excellency, if we do this, we will be able to detect the diseases early. And once we detect them early, we'll be able to manage them. In some cases, we'll be able to prevent the diseases. And in the long run, it will reduce our cost on treatment. And so, are we ready? Yes, we are ready. We are not only announcing for announcing sake. As I speak to you, we have procured about 24,000 pieces of equipment, 24,000. The equipment status of our health facilities is nothing to write home about. Again, the statistics shows that only 5% of our health facilities have the required equipment. And if you go to the public ones, only 2%. And so at the moment, we have invested not less than 500 million Ghana cedis in procuring these equipment. Not only that, if we are asking the health professionals to move from community to community, from house to house, from mosques to churches, we must as well provide them with the means of transportation. Your Excellency, I have heard that the tricycles, the motorbikes that we are distributing, people are misconstruing it to be ambulance. Let me put it on record once again that they are not ambulances. They are simply means of transportation to our health workers to be able to move from one point to the other, to be able to discharge this onerous responsibility. Your Excellency, we are going to start out of the 261 districts. We are going to start by phasing them out. We are going to start with 150 districts in 2026. The ultimate aim is that at the end of 2028, every district should be covered by the free primary health care. The free primary health care has three legs. One, the curative aspect, the preventive aspect, and the promotion aspect. Now, the curative aspect, minor diseases like diarrhea, malaria, respiratory infections, and those minor procedures. Your Excellency, once the whole country is rolled onto the free primary health care, we will know the benefit it will bring as a country. Your Excellency, you have instructed us to recruit more health professionals this year, 2026. We came to inherit a situation where about 13,500 health professionals were recruited, but no financial provision was made. As I speak to you now, they are all being paid accordingly. This year, His Excellency has instructed me to start the recruitment of health professionals, this time around not only nurses and midwives, but pharmacists, allied health professionals, physician assistants, and we are going to recruit not less than 16,000 of them this year. And we are going to be guided by the free primary health care to be able to fill the gaps, because the primary health care, one, equipment, the personnel, and the infrastructure. And so as part of the infrastructure, apart from the chips, the health centers, and the polyclinics, we are going to introduce what we call container-based kiosks, where it will be placed at marketplaces, lorry parks, so that travelers who don't feel well can easily access them. Now, the difference between free primary health care and the national health insurance. The national health insurance covers about 66% of the population. Don't let us assume that everybody in this country is a subscriber to the national health insurance scheme. What it means is that we have about 12 million Ghanaians who are not subscribers. And so free primary health care will cover all the 33 million Ghanaians. That's number one. Even if you're a subscriber of the national health insurance, it is subject to renewal if your card expires. In the case of the free primary health care, no renewal. All you need is to identify yourself as a Ghanaian. In the case of the free primary health care, we have never seen that because you are a subscriber to a national health insurance scheme, you will see health professionals coming to your homes to take your vitals. No. But in the case of the free primary health care, you will see volunteers, health professionals who will walk to your houses to help you to stay healthy. Your Excellency, people have asked about the volunteerism or the volunteers. In some countries, they pick people who are not professionals and they train them to be volunteers. In the case of Ghana, because we have a large backlog of health professionals, we are going to take these volunteers from the backlog we have, so that in our attempt to mainstream them or to employ them, they will be the first line to be employed or to be absorbed into the health sector. Your Excellency, to end, I have also heard that instead of us to complete Agenda 111, we are building kiosks. Your Excellency has given a clear instruction that any project we have inherited, we shall continue to its logical conclusion. So Agenda 111 will be completed. But the lowest of the Agenda 111 is a district hospital. So that is not part of the primary health care. And so the primary health care ends at the polyclinic. And therefore there's a need to use more of these kiosks in order to be able to create more access. To land, today I join His Excellency the President to inspect a cardiology center at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, and that is the first of its kind in this part of the country. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. So in the last week, you may have heard about reductions in the price of fuel. You may also have seen large quantities of transformers being transported through your communities and wondered exactly what all that is about. We have been joined by the Minister for Energy and Green Transitions, the Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapo, who will shed light on happenings in the energy sector among all the other things that I've just highlighted. Let us welcome him with a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, my brother. I'm happy to be back to the school where I started my political career, the UDS that shaped me. Mr. President, when we assumed office, we were faced with a very complex challenge. We had load shedding to the tune of about 700 megawatts in December 2024. In the petroleum sector, production was declining on year-to-year basis for 5 continuous years. And Mr. President set the task for us to resolve these challenges. ECG alone had a debt of 80 billion. But by dint of hard work, we instituted a cash waterfall mechanism, and when power producers, before assuming office, were being paid 40%, I can tell you today, most of the power producers are receiving 100% of the bills they present every month. In the generation side, we have consistent supply of power. The transmission is improving. The last mile, and as Minister, I tasked the Energy Commission and all the power sector players to undertake a comprehensive review of the sector. We know the problem is from aging, obsolete equipment, some of which are about 30 years old. And so we've started an unprecedented comprehensive program. We are installing 2,500 transformers across the whole of Ghana. And let me assure the people of Tamale, from tomorrow, the target areas, the Kuku area, hilltop areas, we are installing 30 brand new upgraded transformers in Tamale alone. In Accra, we are installing 11 primary substations, and the ECG area, we are installing over 2,000 transformers. In Kumasi, come this May, I will lead the team myself to Kumasi and will address the distribution challenge that has bedeviled Kumasi for so many years. We will deal with it in Kumasi, so be rest assured it will be dealt with. In the petroleum sector, like I said, for 5 continuous years there's been a decline. But based on the leadership of His Excellency the President, let me announce to Ghanaians that this year we will have a turnaround. We are going to increase production, and production will start picking up from this year as far as petroleum production is concerned. Just this month, from about 2 months now, all of you know what we are dealing with. The war with US, Israel, and Iran. Don't forget, the Russian-Ukraine war is still ongoing. And so some people said, we'd see whether the NDC would complain about the war and impose further hardship on the people of Ghana. Let me tell you, Mr. President is not the one who complains. He deals with the problem and finds solutions. And so today, if you went to the pump, you would have bought diesel for about 19 cedis. Mr. President intervened, and because of that, today you will buy that same diesel for 16 cedis instead of 19 cedis. And I'm telling you, but for the resilience of the economy, but for the performance of the currency, you would have been buying diesel, if bet for President Mahama, for 25 cedis per liter. And that is the truth. So we are making significant progress. In the area of renewables, we are working with the Minister of Agric. We are installing what we call solar-backed pumps for irrigation, so that we can boost food production, save money, and ensure that there is food security. And so in the energy sector, without taking too much time, the results are tangible. Last year alone, we paid over $1.4 billion to IPPs. Before we assumed office, the World Bank guarantee of $500 million had been drawn down to zero. Zero, $500 million. Without loans, without external support, we've paid the entire $500 million in 1 year and restored it back. This is what we call tangible policy measures that you can measure, that you can see, that you can feel. Anytime you buy a liter of diesel, you save 3 cedi. So if you buy 5, that is 15 cedi. Times 10, 150, times 30 in a month, you are saving about 450 Ghana cedis because of President Mahama. And that for me is commendable. So on this note, Mr. President, let me assure you, and let me assure the people of Ghana, that we are committed to improving both the electricity subsector, the renewable sector, and the petroleum sector. We would also improve on our communication. We are going to launch a system where when you have the least outage, you don't even need to call. Just send a WhatsApp message with your location, and we shall dispatch men and women there to address your problem in real time. And so let me thank you very much, Mr. President. Let me thank the people of Tamale, and let me thank the people of Ghana. Thank you very much. May God bless us all. I'm grateful.
In the agri sector, you have heard about Feed Ghana. You have heard about Nkokon Kitinkiti, and then there is agricultural mechanization. Today, the Minister for Agric, the Honorable Eric Opoku, is here to update us on progress on the implementation of these programs and what his ministry has in store to ensure food security and the production of raw materials to feed industry. Let us welcome the Honorable Eric Opoku, Minister for Agric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, our eminent chiefs herein gathered, the Chairman of the great NDC party, Honorable MMDCs, colleague ministers of state, colleagues, members of parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Ghana's agriculture is widely described and recognized as the paradox of plenty. Paradox of plenty in the sense that we are endowed with enormous agricultural potentials. We have the land in abundance. We have water flowing through our land. We have favorable but different ecological zones. We have youthful population. And recently, Ghana is the headquarters of the AFTA Secretariat, a gateway to the Africa continental market, a market with a population of approximately 1.6 billion. And so we have everything it takes to use agriculture to deliver growth and prosperity to the people of Ghana. But unfortunately, the converse has been the story. When we assumed office in January 2025, Ghana's food import bill was in excess of $3 billion, and food inflation peaked at 61% in January 2023, and in January 2025, it was 28.3%. In fact, in 2024, Ghana was listed by the World Bank among 10 countries in the world with the highest food inflation. So when we assumed office, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama introduced the agenda, Agriculture for Economic Transformation Agenda, what we call ITA. This agenda must not sit in the books alone. It must be translated into practical terms so that it can have impact and effect on the people of Ghana. And so to operationalize this agenda, we introduced what we call the Feed Ghana program. The Feed Ghana program is intentional to ensure food sufficiency in Ghana and to also ensure that we produce sufficient raw materials to feed our industries. And so through the Feed Ghana and the feed industry policies, we are establishing symbiotic relationships between our farmers and the processors. One, to create market for them. Two, to add value so that we can reduce our import bill, build a strong economy, and then deliver growth to the people of Ghana. Your Excellency, I want to report that after 1 year, 3 months of the implementation of the Feed Ghana program, we are getting wonderful, incredible results. Food inflation, which was 28.3% at the time we assumed office, has reduced significantly to 2.4% as of March 2026. This is the lowest ever chalk in the history of Ghana. But it must be noted that there is a positive relationship between food prices and the number of people in the poverty zone. And so whenever food prices are going up, you see the number of people in the poverty enclave increasing. And when food prices are coming down, then the number of people in the poverty zone will also reduce. This is simple. Poor households spend a higher percentage of their incomes on food. So they are the hardest hit when food prices rise. And so whenever food prices are going up, people will have to spend all that they have, all their incomes, on food. But even that, they cannot afford quality food. So they go for whatever their income can afford, regardless of the nutritional value. And so when food prices were ballooning in 2024, the government into abject poverty. And today, that food prices are coming down. to the extent that food inflation is 2.4%, government is redeeming a lot of Ghanaians from the shackles and tentacles of abject poverty in Ghana. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the increase in production of food in Ghana has exposed another weakness in our food systems: lack of storage infrastructure. Our farmers have produced so much. We have a lot of grains, maize, rice, everywhere you go in this country. And the farmers are complaining of lack of market. For the first time in the history of our country, we have food in abundance, and we are not getting market for our produce. The Ghanaian farmer must not suffer for committing his or her resources into production to feed our people. So the government is taking bold steps to solve the problem. The first one we have done is that His Excellency President Mahama has made available an amount of 300 million Ghana cedis. 100 million was released last year and 200 million this year. The money has been given to the National Food Buffer Stock for them to step into the market and mop up the excess produce and then store them against emergencies. It must be noted that this is the first time in our history that we are building food buffers. It has never happened in the history of Ghana that a government will make resources available to buy food, store them, and make them available in periods of need. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our target is to build buffers country for a period of 1 year. But we need to expand our storage infrastructure. And President Mahama is committed to doing exactly that. Now, the Feed Ghana program is anchored on some pillars. The first one is irrigation. Agriculture in Ghana is basically rain-fed. God has given us irrigable land, estimated at 1.9 million hectares. Unfortunately, since the inception of this country, only 226,000 hectares are under irrigation. And even when we took inventory of all the irrigation infrastructure that we have in our country, we realized that some of them were constructed during Nkrumah's time, some of them during the Champion's time, and most of them are not functioning. The few that are functioning, they are also operating under capacity. Some are performing as low as 5% of their capacity. And the President has directed that we rehabilitate all the existing irrigation infrastructure and add new ones so that Ghana can transition from rain-fed agriculture to irrigation agriculture. As we speak, we have secured funding of 47 million euros from the EU and AFD. And the President has directed that all that amount should be committed to the provision of irrigation infrastructure. And so in the Northern Enclave, we are constructing this year 10 new small dams, and we are rehabilitating 8 of the existing dams. Again, in the Northern Enclave alone, we are constructing 250 solar-powered boreholes for our women and the youth to be able to grow, to produce vegetables from January through all the other months to December. We want to ensure all year-round production. When the international community heard of our plan, they came to discuss with us, and they said, look, this is the way to transform Ghana's agriculture. So they also decided to make a contribution. So the EU and the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, have given us 44 boreholes to be constructed in the northern region. 44 boreholes, solar-powered boreholes. The Canadian Embassy has also given us 25 solar-powered boreholes, in addition to the 250 that government of Ghana is already providing. As we speak, some of these boreholes have been drilled. When you go to Savalugu School of Deaf, we have drilled the boreholes. We are yet to install the equipment and then the solar panel to support the school farming activity. Then you go to 7A's in Yendi. 7A's in Yendi. The boreholes have been drilled. You go to Pavim, Presec, we have drilled the boreholes. You go to Jimili, we have drilled the boreholes there. You go to Zang, we have drilled the boreholes there. Juni, we have drilled the boreholes, and many, many other communities. This is to ensure that our agriculture moves away from rain-fed agriculture to irrigation agriculture. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we also ask our farmers to constitute themselves into cooperatives. As we speak, we have over 70 cooperatives in Ghana. And Northern region alone formed about 15,000 cooperatives. 15,000 cooperatives. We want to use the cooperative to address one of the challenges confronting agriculture in this country, access to credit. Because in the cooperatives, we are doing what we call mutual guarantee schemes. So once you are a member of the cooperative can access the loan and then distribute among members for your farming activities. Now to conclude, we set up a revolving fund of $1 million, cedi equivalent of 11 million Ghana cedis, to support our women who are into agriculture in the northern region. As we speak, 500 women have been selected to benefit this year. It is supposed to be a revolving fund. You can take a maximum of 10,000, and after the year, you go and pay 10% as interest. That fund is being piloted. When we become successful, we then scale the entire country. Your Excellency, ahead of the construction of the Farmers Service Center, we have begun training of young ladies on how to manage our tractors, how to drive, and how to maintain them. In Tamale here, with the support of the WFP, we selected 300 young ladies. All of them are school dropouts. We picked them from the streets and trained them. Now, they are qualified tractor drivers, and they have the capacity to maintain the tractors when there is fault. As we speak, we are processing them for license. As soon as their license and the farmer service centers are completed, they will be sent to other areas to manage the equipment that we are bringing for us. Then again, as part of the Farmer Service Center program, this is the last one, we selected 231 youth artisans and trained them on how they can fabricate corn and then soya threshers. The 231 artisans were trained in Savalugu with the support of WLP and then MasterCard Foundation. As we speak, all of them have been trained. And then after the training, they have fabricated 300 maize and soya threshers, which are being distributed to women farmer groups in the northern region. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Agriculture. So our traditional leaders have sat through the presentation so far. What do they make of what has been presented, and what concerns would they like to share with the President of the Republic of Ghana and all the ministers who have spoken? To speak on behalf of the traditional leaders present, Nyab Zangbalin Lana Mahama Jacob has been nominated to do so.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, Honorable Ministers of State, Honorable MPs, National Chairman NDC, National NDC national and regional executives, NANIMA, MMDCs, religious leaders, distinguished guests, students, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of His Royal Majesty Ndanja Anawukwa II, the President of the Northern Regional House of Chiefs, we extend our warm greetings and a heartfelt welcome to you all to this important town hall meeting in Tamale. Your presence here, Mr. President, is evident of your commitment to engaging directly with the people, accounting to them and understanding their concerns firsthand. We are very happy to learn firsthand what your government has achieved in such a short period. We are committed to supporting you in whatever way we can to continue these laudable initiatives. Dagwan, like many parts of our beloved Ghana, is a land of great potential and resilient people. However, I must once again convey a pressing concern that weighs heavily on the hearts of our communities, particularly in Tamale and Yendi. The perennial water shortage in these vital cities has become a source of immense hardship and distress for our populace. Access to clean and reliable water is not merely a convenience, it is a fundamental human right and a cornerstone of health, sanitation, and economic activity. The cries of our people for a lasting solution to these critical issues are growing louder, and we earnestly appeal to your government to prioritize and expedite sustainable solutions to ensure that every household in Tamale and Yendi has consistent access to this life-sustaining resource. We are confident that under your leadership and with the collective efforts of all stakeholders, these challenges can be overcome, paving the way for greater prosperity and well-being for the people of Northern Region and Ghana as a whole. We have said that if you don't do it, nobody would, and we are praying fervently to enable you to carry out this laudable project. He who gives water gives life. We pray that you give us life, inshallah. We wish you a successful tour of our region, including this town hall meeting. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Zagbalelana Mahama Jacob. So we have come to the climax of today's event, and we welcome to the stage His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama.
Seated. Let me acknowledge our revered traditional rulers and also our imams and religious leaders, including our Christian clergy, our MMDCs, senior government officials, members of the Council of State, and all citizens of Northern Region who are present here. This afternoon we've heard a lot, and I don't want to come and repeat what my ministers, the reports that my ministers have given. I'm aware that after I speak, there'll be a little opportunity to ask a few questions and make a few suggestions, and I'm sure that I'll have the opportunity to clarify even more things when we do the interaction. And so I'll just speak generally about a few things in just 10 minutes, and then we can go into the interactive session. And so the first is just to assure you that the country's economy is in safe hands, and that our economy is resilient, and that despite the external events that are taking place, our economy is still sound and strong. In many countries, there are shortages of petroleum products. Even in the United States of America, a liter of fuel was $2.98 just before the war. Today, that same fuel is about 4 cents. It means it has more than doubled. In Ghana, because of the resilience of our economy, our currency is stable, inflation is stable. We've been able to manage the petroleum prices so that we cushion
our citizens and prevent inflation from going back up to the levels that we came to meet it. When we came into office, inflation was running above 24%. That inflation has been brought down to under 4%, and we intend to keep it like that. We have done this by just being physically disciplined. As you are aware, because of the debt default, Ghana was shut out of the international capital market. And so we are not able to go onto the international credit market to take any loans. Indeed, until this administration, I didn't believe that we could do some of the things we are doing using our own money. When the road minister was talking, he explained the huge number of roads that we're working on, mainly the highways linking regions to regions and regional capitals to districts. Today, we have 2,000 kilometers of roads ongoing at the same time, and we're paying for all these road constructions with our own money. Indeed, between last year and this year, we are spending almost 50 billion cedis of our own money in reconstructing our own roads. And let me assure you that the current jobs that are taking place are the first phase of the big push. We are rescoping other important roads so that we can bring them also under construction. So if your road is not yet being worked on, rest assured that we will be coming to you. There are many roads in the northern region that we are scoping, including the northeastern part of the country, Cherponi, Bunkurgu Road, Bintiri, the road to Bintiri. We're also doing Saboba to Cherponi, Yendi to Saboba. We're going to do the bridge at Chichuli, I can never pronounce that, which will create a shortcut between Bimbila and Zabzugu. We're also going to do the Salaga to Bimbila Road, the Pandai to Salaga Road. I mean, those are all roads that we're working on to improve the road network. I know that the northern part of the country has been one of the most deprived when it comes to road network, and I can assure you that indeed it is expanding faster than any other metropolis, not only in Ghana but in West Africa. And so the old waterworks that we knew, we have kept expanding it. We did Tamale Water Phase 1, Phase 2, even Phase 3. But the rate at which the population is growing means that at each time we are demanding more water. And so when we came, one of the first things we did was to sit with Ghana Water and find out what their issues were. Part of the problem was that the traditional waterworks that is supplying water to Tamale, some of the motors were worn out and some had broken down. And so just by repairing the motors and putting new motors, we could increase the supply of water by several millions of gallons. And so that work has partly been done. We are finishing it, so you will see an improvement in the water supply. But the solution to Tamale's water will be to create a new source of water to feed into the Tamale metropolis. And the studies that have been done show that the best place to get that water is to the south, that is towards Yape. And so we'll build a new pumping station there, and we'll pump the water 21 miles from the White Volta River to Tamale. And so I just want to assure my elder brother Zangbalana, this is our Dabium. Mayan Yelzungo, Tamale Kupa Undaman, Mayan Yangle, Joma Mayan Yangle. Because as my brother Zangbalana said, if I don't do it, who will come and do it? And so you can rest assured that the Tamale water will be done. When we finish it, it will bring 30 million gallons fresh water to Tamale Metropolis. And that water is going to come in through Tamale South, through Banvim into Tamale. And so we'll have the water from Dalong coming from the north and the water from Yape coming from the south, both feeding into the Tamale water system. And so we'll have enough water. And kindly inform my father, the Yana, that we're also going to do the Yendi water supply system so that Yendi too can get enough fresh water. Having talked about that, I just want to add a little word to the Minister of Health. The free primary health care is not meant to supplement, it's not meant to substitute the national health insurance or the Mahama cares. We're going to have 3 layers of care. The free primary health care is going to capture the rest of the underserved population, because the national health insurance actually works from the district hospital level up. But then we need to capture the polytechnics, the CHIP compounds, and the other areas that are underserved. And so that is the vacuum the free primary health care is coming to occupy. And like he said, it has 3 components to it. It has the curative, and the curative deals with basic illnesses like cholera, diarrheal diseases, respiratory diseases, malaria, and all that. If you go for treatment, you just need an ID card to prove that you are a Ghanaian. You don't need a national health insurance card. So most people, if you go to the district hospital and your national health insurance card has expired, they turn you away. At the free primary level, you don't need renewal of any card. You show your Ghana card or any card, your voter's card, even your voter's card, if you show it to show that you are a Ghanaian, you access the services at that level free of charge. The other aspect of the free primary health care is the preventive. And the preventive means that we'll have health volunteers who are coming to households. And if they find an outbreak of any disease, they can report it fast. But apart from that, they'll go to households and educate them on how to prevent illness. And so they'll have basic instruments for checking your blood pressure, for checking your glucose level in your blood and all that, so that if you are developing hypertension, you will know. And then they can refer you to the district hospital so that you go get your medication and start taking. And then it will have the educational. The educational will be to educate people how to live healthy lifestyles, the kind of food you must eat, the kinds of physical activity you must do, exercise well, don't always sit and do nothing and eat a lot of food. They will teach you all those things so that you can live longer and healthier. So those are the 3 dimensions of the free primary health care. And we're going to equip all the CHIPS compounds with the equipment that you saw when I launched it at Dodowan. They'll have scans for scanning pregnant women and all that. And the polyclinics will have more equipment. And so we're graduating from the CHIPS compounds to the health centers, to the polyclinics, and then eventually to the district hospitals. And so that will help us get closer to universal health coverage. And vehicles, the tricycles and the motorbikes we're giving to the free primary health care volunteers is to enable them go around and be able to do their work. We're not giving to them as ambulances, but I dare say, I mean, if you have a tricycle in a village and your wife is bleeding, she's pregnant and she's bleeding, you won't sit in that tricycle. So even though we're not giving them as ambulances, if it is the only vehicle in the village and there's an emergency, why not? We'll put the person in and take the person to the hospital. And so, yes, the idea is not to send them as ambulances, but If they have to evacuate an emergency, they will use it as an ambulance and save the life of the person. This morning we went to the Family Teaching Hospital to inspect progress of work on a cardiothoracic center. This is the first of its kind in the 5 northern regions. In the 5 northern regions, if you have a cardiovascular incident, we call it, like a heart attack, or you have any cardiac problem with your heart, they have to refer you to Kumasi or to Accra. There was no facility for treating and helping you. And sometimes by the time they evacuated you to Accra, you would have given up the ghost and gone to join your maker. Today I'm happy to announce that at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, we are building a cardiothoracic center. With all the latest medical equipment, so that anybody who has a cardiac issue, strokes, heart attacks and all that, they'll get you there on time and they'll be able to save your life. You don't have to wait to go to Kumasi or Accra to go and receive treatment. We're going to continue building centers of excellence in our teaching hospitals, especially in underserved areas like the North and also in Volta region. And so we must have centers like this in Volta region, in Western region, so that geographically we're able to cover all our people. And so I was telling the doctors in Tamale that we will also get an oncology center of excellence, because increasingly we're seeing a lot of cancers. Our mothers and sisters are developing breast cancers, they are developing cervical cancers, men are developing prostate cancers, and yet there's no treatment opportunity in the 5 northern regions. And so we'll look to build an oncology center of excellence in Tamale, so that anybody with prostate cancer, cervical cancer, colon cancer, any of the cancers that are becoming more visible will be able to seek treatment. And so those are many of the issues. I just finally talk about the agriculture sector that the Honorable Arikopoku spoke about. Indeed, we are becoming victims of our own success, because the increase in food production is both a good thing because it has brought down food inflation, but at the same time too, we have a problem with a glut in the production of some of the items. As I speak now, there's a glut in the production of eggs. Poultry farmers are complaining that they can't get a market for their eggs. And so, because of the poultry programs and all that we've done, the supply of eggs has increased. And that's why I've said that we should find a way of getting the school feeding program to absorb the eggs and give it to our children to eat. If we can't sell it, let our children eat the eggs. The buffer stock CEO is CEO is here. Yeah, he's sitting in the second row. His warehouses are all full of maize, and he's buying processed rice and storing it. So we need to expand the capacity of storage that we have. And so we're looking to build new warehouses, but also build silos, so that when we buy the food, we can pump it and keep it in the silos, so that when there's an emergency, we release it onto the market. But the solution to our problem is something that has been ignored for ages. And I'm not blaming any particular government for it. It includes my previous administration. We have not built our agro-processing capacity. And that is why this time, when I appointed ministers, I also appointed a Minister of Trade and Agribusiness, because we want Ghanaians to go into agribusiness, and agribusiness is mainly agro-processing. And so we want Ghanaian businessmen to build factories to buy that excess rice, buy that excess maize, buy those excess eggs, and process them into things that we can store and we can even export. Today somebody was telling me about an egg processing plant where you buy the raw eggs and you process them into egg powder. And there's an export market for it. They use it for baking. They use it for cakes and bread and other things. And so we must start thinking outside the box. You go to other countries, they have maize processing plants. And so we're planning 5 maize processing factories in 5 biggest maize growing areas, so that we can buy the maize of the farmers, process it into maize flour, we'll eat what we can locally, and the rest we can export to other countries. So that will be the eventual solution to what we're facing. But it will take time. We've started, and it's my expectation that future governments will come and continue so that we have the capacity to process any excess food we have for our own consumption. The final thing is the farmer service centers, and I'm happy at what he said, that they've trained 300 female tractor operators. There is no job that is only the preserve of men. And our women say what a man can do, a woman too can do equally. Some of you might doubt it, but let's assume that at least tractor operation, they too can operate tractors and bulldozers and earth-moving equipment. And so we'll train our women to participate. I cast salt for the first farmer service center, and construction is about to start. We are starting with 50 of them, and we're identifying the biggest agricultural growing areas. And each of the farmer service centers will have tractors, threshers, everything that you need for agriculture. And so if you're a cooperative, you register, and then they'll provide you with service. And so that is going to happen. Irrigation too is an area that we're going to put a lot of attention, so that we can do all year round agriculture. But finally, I know there are some College of Education trainees here. Your alawa has been processed. And soon you will start receiving your teacher training allowances. I knew that one will get you. So your alawa will be coming very soon. It's been processed. Yeah. All right, so I'll end there, and then if there are a few questions, I think I'll just stay here, so that if there are any questions, I can just respond directly.
All right, thank you very much, Your Excellency. We will delve straight into the question and answer session. But bearing in mind that the time for Muslim prayer is...
A sit here of Doctor of Final, a sit here pharmacy students at this institution. A sit here of Doctor of Final, a sit here pharmacy students at this institution. My question is directed towards the Agriculture Minister, even though you did hammer on it. I've been meaning to ask him this question since we met at the African Food Systems Forum last year, but you did address something with regards to that. So I realized my question was not very geared towards him directly, but to the Minister of Agribusiness, but I think they work line in line. So you realize that there are lots of startups in Ghana. That's when we came at the African Food Systems Forum. Most of us this pitch at the Invest Ghana Deal Room. And most of the feedbacks we got were, you don't meet the criteria for certain funding. We did watch other startups in other African deal rooms, like the East African deal rooms, that had their countries be like, oh, you don't meet the criteria, we'll help you meet the criteria. You realize that there are lots of variable business in Ghana.
Yeah. Please wrap up and ask the question.
There was a startup like Kodu Technology that produces eco-friendly sanitary pads. So I was looking up to you when the Pad Bank initiative process, thing came up. These were the companies that were supposed to be absorbed into the Pad Bank system, because when these companies become sustainable, they help employ a lot of people, help empower people, and help eradicate poverty. So my concern as a rising entrepreneur is, what are the structures that are there to help support us? Because President talked about CSIL producing yam flour. I have a startup, I train startups, I have 16 startups. One of my startups is into the production of yam flour to also use it as alternative for baking products to help gluten-free people. So what are there in stock to help us?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, one of the traditional rulers has a question, so please send the microphone to him. I believe that is
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ask for brevity.
And please keep it brief so that.
Okay, thank you very much.
We will maximize time. Yes.
As a former director of health with 25 years of experience, I observed that systemic indiscipline and a broken command chain have consistently undermined even the most laudable efforts across successive government up to this present administration. These have led to laxity, indiscipline, absenteeism, blatant thievery, under-table payments, lack of commitment, disrespect of authority by subordinates, and dysfunctional referral system between the teaching hospitals and Ghana Health Service. The result is poor and inadequate health services for Ghanaians. This is evident in the rush to seek health care outside the country by those who can afford it. To truly transform our healthcare outcomes and empower our dedicated professionals, would your administration consider reforming the command structure to grant immediate superiors greater authority in disciplinary actions and dismissals while maintaining the presidential prerogative for appointments? And a follow-up, the other challenge is the absence of a single and supreme head of the health sector akin to the Surgeon General in other countries. The Director General of Ghana Health Service should have been in this position, but the CEOs of the teaching hospitals do not authority to improve health sector planning and service delivery that will lead to better healthcare outcomes.
Thank you very much for that insightful question. So the rest of you have 2 minutes each.
Thank you.
To ask your question.
The Paramount Chief for Sagnargu Paramount.
All right, so we'll make an exception for the Paramount Chief, yes.
Your Excellency, I thank the Honorable Minister for the exception. I'll try to stay as close to the 2 minutes as possible. Your Excellency, I am pleased to welcome you. Join my brother, the Zangbale, now to welcome you once more to this region. Your Excellency, one thing of great worry to us in this region now is the question of substance abuse, a matter of great concern to the populace at large in this region. As evidenced in the community task forces that have sprung up in a number of communities like Tamale, Sanargu, Savilgu, and Tulum, among others. This issue ought to be of top concern to government, as it is turning our youth into zombies, hardly the best state in which to take up as our leaders tomorrow. Your Excellency, we wish to call on the government to recognize and give support to the anti-drugs task forces by establishing organic links between them and the competent public authorities, notably the police. This will give them legitimacy, provide them with guidance in the conduct of related operations, and avoid excesses that could arise therefrom. The task forces will thus also be sources of intelligence in the general fight against crime. They can, in this respect, also be the eyes and ears of the state, monitoring any developments related to the terrorist threat ravaging some other states in our West African neighborhood. Without the recommended involvement of the state apparatus, the laudable initiatives of the public stand the risk of making our patriotic and conscientious youths involved in case of any excesses. Rather, the criminals, as actual criminals, find loopholes to fight back. Your Excellency, I was expecting to make my comments before Your Excellency's speech. Happy you are still on the podium. And I hope that Your Excellency will reassure us that this plea will be acted upon without delay. We have these task forces. We don't have as much collaboration with the police as should be. I've suggested several times, for example, that the police could attach 3 or 4 policemen to each task force so that they will be informed and be involved in their activities to make sure that there are no excesses. If it works well, they can also be very useful tools for intelligence in other areas.
GTV, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana.
I'm in the studio with my bosses, DRN2, DRN3, Dr. Erika Ntiamwa-Mensah and Dr. Petro Ntiamwa-Mensah. Many people have been sending questions to us, questions to the DRNs, and I gave it to them to answer. They've thrown more light on it, and I'm here with follow-up questions to make sure that we get to the barest, level of understanding of the issues. One of the key things, which I'm so much interested in, is